Uma. Today we're making an Uma doll cake. Uma is short for, oh my god, this is pretty. Uma is one of the new characters from Disney's Descendants 2. I watched it last week. I drank a lot of alcohol. That movie's not for 30-year-old men. But I have to say that Uma is conceptually my favorite character. I loved her colors, I loved her dreadlocks, and the song that introduces her is... it's aight. It's aight. So let's get started. Now, all of my doll cakes start out the exact same way, and if you want an in-depth look at how I start them, then there is a video for you in the description box. I really don't like shooting this part because it slows me down and I move too fast. So after I finished this process, I rolled out some teal green blue aqua fondant, and I just covered my entire cake in it. Now usually with cakes you want to flatten it out, but because this is a doll cake and it's a dress, you kind of want to make it so that the bottom of it has these ruffles and folds. So I'm not going to tuck this in whatsoever. In fact, I'm just going to enhance the ruffles with my fingertips. And I'm just going to make sure that they're placed evenly around the cake. Now I'm going to cut a hole at the top of the fondant and just work it around so that we can place our doll in the middle. I'm sorry for the food coloring on my hands, you guys. That's not a rash, it's just red food coloring. Grab Uma. I really like her pirate's hat and I liked her dreadlocks, but this doll doesn't have dreadlocks. Makes me sad. So instead I decided to take a different route at the end. Now I sealed her in with some fondant. This actually really allows me to control where the waistline is too. Now I wanted the side of this cake to have purple to kind of throw back to Ursula, you know, because her tentacles are purple. So I'm using a toothpick to mark where I want the purple fondant to fall. And I kind of want it to cross from the right side of her waist to the center left of the bottom of the gown. That makes sense? I think that makes sense. I want to create a separation between these two sides of fondant, so I'm actually going to flatten out the ruffles where the purple is going to be. Just use some fondant tools to tuck it under and smoothen it out, and then cut off the excess using a knife. Now I'm going to roll out some purple fondant really thin, and then I'm going to apply it to that space with a little bit of vodka. Vodka is glue and it's good for you. What? I created a song, you guys. This is gonna be a #1 hit. I can feel it. Now I'm just gonna take a knife and cut it along the toothpick created guide. Initially I was gonna put suckers on the purple, you know, like octopus suckers, but I thought that would be ugly. So I decided to just take a ball fondant tool and just add some craters into the purple. And I'm using 2 different ball sizes so that the craters don't look uniform. I just want like octopus texture, whatever that means, I don't know. Now let's create our top. Now I rolled out some teal fondant. First I'm going to create a curved line. I kind of didn't know exactly what I wanted. I kind of did. Sort of. I didn't want the top to be straight. I wanted it to be like higher on one side and then go down on the other. Now I cut out the sides of the front and then where the fabric would wrap around her waist. Pulled away all of the excess, and then I created this little slit. I don't really know how to explain it. I just thought it'd be kind of cool, a little sexy, a little glamorous, I don't know. Pulled it off and applied it to her chest and her waist with a little bit of vodka. Now let's create some ruffles. Now this technique, I'm kind of hesitant to talk about it because I'm still figuring it out. Now I want this dress to look like it's flowing like an actual gown. So I rolled out more of the aqua fondant, and then I'm gonna freehand a shape that's very similar to the sails of a boat. You want to make sure that the length of this is the length of the entire dress. Remove the excess and just roll it out again with my fondant roller to thin it out a little bit more, but also to soften up the edges where the fondant was cut. Now I'm just going to fold one side over and then apply that to the gown with a little bit of fondant. Now I used to create all of these with a stencil, but because the fondant moves so much, each piece was always different. So I figured, what the hell, just do it without it. Now I'm gonna take my fondant tools and just blend the top layer of fondant to the bottom layer. Now where the fondant had stiffened up a little bit, I added a little bit of vodka to my finger just so I could soften it a bit. Now ideally you want to use a fondant tool as a blender, but I couldn't find it, so I'm using this thing. Couldn't find the fondant tool that I normally use, so I went to Michael's to buy another set and it was $27. On Amazon it's only $7. Why am I gonna pay $27? So I bought this piece of jewelry. And it was only $2. I just sanitized it and it worked perfectly. Now, this is where I don't know what I'm doing. I've never seen anyone do this before. I think I might have come up with it. I don't know. But I'm like learning how to do it and I'm trying to teach you. And that makes for a terrible teacher. Now I'm gonna repeat this process 2 more times to get a fold for the side as well as the back of the gown. Now let's create some tentacles. Now like I said, Uma is a daughter of Ursula. She's got tentacles, she's a witch, she's a crazy sea witch. I wanted to incorporate that into the gown in a very glamorous way. So I've got some mustard yellow fondant, and I'm just gonna roll it into a very, very long and thin cone shape. I usually use this shape to create unicorn horns, but today it's gonna be for an octopus. Bend over one side to make it look kind of like a candy cane. I'm gonna take this and I'm just gonna apply it to the top of the gown with a little bit of vodka. I created 4 different sizes of tentacles just so that they could fall on the dress differently. I wanted to give these tentacles a little bit of texture, so I'm taking some fondant tools and creating some holes, and I'm using a tiny fondant ball tool just to create the same texture and crevices that I created on the purple. You're just gonna repeat that with the 4 tentacles. Now octopi have 8 legs. Actually, they've got 6 legs and 2 arms. Whoa. So I made 4 more legs and I'm just draping them at the back of the gown. And this is actually a play on the Ariel doll cake that I created. It was kind of like the purple fabric being pulled from one side and then reaching over onto the other. I wanted to do the exact same thing with the octopus. Now all the fondant work is done, we can add all the rest of the decorations. So, luster dust. Luster dust, luster dust, luster dust. Took some purple luster dust and I just coated the entire purple octopus abstract, whatever this is, side of the gown. Now I didn't want this to just be crevices, so I added some gumballs as well. And then I added some purple sixlets, as well as some black and purple pearl sprinkles. Now because I applied the luster dust with vodka, it actually acted like glue to stick all of these things on. Now I didn't want the teal to be completely flat, so I'm taking a paintbrush and just dry brushing it with a little bit of teal. We're putting luster dust on everything apparently, and we're gonna do the exact same thing with the octopus. Now with vodka and gold luster dust, I'm just gonna paint this on as carefully as possible. And I made a slight change at the bottom of the gown, and I thought the purple would pop more if the gumballs at the bottom were gold instead of purple. And I just moved those to the other side of the gown, and voila, our Uma doll cake is finished. Awesome. Now in the movie, Uma has dreadlocks, and I was really sad that this doll doesn't. So I decided to take her hair in a very different direction. I just made it straight and sleek and slick back. I really wanted it to look wet and like she was just coming out from the ocean. You guys know the pool scene from Fast Times at Ridgemont High? Yo, that was inspiration. So some people really enjoyed Descendants too. You know, Uma was my favorite character, but the end of that movie, there's no resolution. And then at the end of the movie, she has like that clapback scene where she's talking to the camera and she's like, you thought I was done? I'm gonna be back in the 3rd one. Girl, you should have just handled your business so that they can introduce more characters in the 3rd. It was so frustrating, you guys. Now I'm curious, did you watch Descendants 2? Did you like it? Did you hate it? What did you think? What did you think about that clapback? Now if you haven't checked them out already, I created 2 other Descendants doll cakes, Mal and Evie. I also created Uma's mom, Ursula, and Ursula's arch nemesis, Ariel. There's links in the description box and at the end of the video, so go check them out. I kept calling it The Descendants, which is actually the George Clooney movie, and you guys were angry about that. But you can see the mistake I made. You can see how I could make that mistake, right? Make sure you hit that notification button I'm covering all my bases. It's somewhere on the side over here. Post pretty awesome things in the community tab and you can be notified every time I do. I love you guys. Peace!